I want to talk about, geographic farming and, um, why we are looking at that. So let me just kind of back up and kind of start from scratch here. So my name is Alan Richardson. I'm the managing broker here at Maximum Realtor and Realtor Partners. And then every week we're going to go over a different topic. And so this week's topic is going to be geographic farming. We're going to be talking about why you want the geographic farm, why geographic farming might be a good idea for you, deciding how to really put that all together, and if you want to do that, and then what are the steps involved, and how can you do it to be effective? We luckily, Ming and I, for years, we used to geographic farm a couple of different neighborhoods. We have a lot of agents that do it as well, some very successfully, and so we're going to go through the comings and goings, all the nitpicky things about setting up a geographic farm. So let's start off with, why do you want to do a geographic farm? And so the first thing I want you to understand is that it's really smart business, right? So many of us work off of a referral system, and so it helps you build up a referral business. It helps you build relationships primarily with sellers. And so it tends to have a very good return on investment long term. That's one of the big keys here. It is a really good investment long term. It tends to have much lower cost for a lead source. You can spend money with geographic farming, but you can also really replace a lot of the financial equity with sweat equity. We find it to be very effective, good long-term strategy. Now, let's talk about, why would you not want to farm? If you want to try this, please don't do that. Like, this is not a system for you to try. This is a long-term system that requires, like I need you to kind of adopt the whole Yoda thing. Do not, do or do not try, right? And so if you're gonna go and you're gonna move in and start doing geographic farming, then you have to be ready to do it. And I want you to organize yourself so that you can really make it happen for the long term. But this is not something where you put your pinky toe in, because if you do, it will fail. And I'm not trying to be like overly dramatic on anything like that, but you will fail if you just try it a little bit. If you just want to, if you send one set of postcards to a neighborhood, you may as well just dig a hole in the ground and throw some money in. Like, this is something that's going to require you to be consistent in how you approach your farm, all the things that you do with your farm. Like, this becomes a legitimate piece of business that you're going to continue to work on long term and engage with. And if you're ready to sign up for that, then this can be a very, very effective strategy. So it starts off with, all right, so you've decided that you want to do a geographic farm. The next step is, like, how do I select it? How do I figure out what the right farm is? And so first thing is you'd like to have one where you have low competition. So if you know of a neighborhood and there's another realtor in there farming it, skip it, right? There's just no need. Most of our gated golf course neighborhoods, they have multiple people farming, and you can go to the next neighborhood over and there's nobody farming it. So, try not to focus on, there's no need to go fight for business when there's so much business to be had that's not there. You want to make sure that you're operating in a solid price point that you're very, very comfortable with. I know a lot of folks that they only want to farm, like I want to farm luxury, but you've never sold a luxury house in your entire life. You're going to have a hard time. You're going to struggle because you're not used to operating inside that space. So make sure you're working inside, especially with a price point that you're very, very comfortable with, because you have to be competent once you start farming here. You want to make sure the neighborhood size is good for you. Like neighborhoods with 100 homes is a good round number, that kind of stuff. Some folks try and jump in and will try and do a 700 home neighborhood or a 500 home neighborhood right out of the gate. And I'm not saying you can't do that, but that comes with a different price point, as far as, especially if you're going to be doing postcard farming and those kind of things. It can get, it can be a little bit unruly. It can be a little bit harder to handle. So the other thing you want to do is make sure that the neighborhood has good turnover rate. And so what that means is like homes sell there and come on the market and sell. There are some neighborhoods out there. Homes are beautiful. Everybody knows everyone and no one moves. Well, that's not a great neighborhood to farm, because if nobody's moving, then they're not going to need, I mean, you can build relationships, but it's not going to be real good for you there. You want to make sure that it's got the right mix of owners versus renters. So like farming a neighborhood that's primarily renters, you're just dealing with investors, and that's a tougher place to market, to really put yourself in there. You want to make sure you actually like the neighborhood that you want to farm. It should be something that you feel very comfortable with. You want to realize right up front, is this a neighborhood that um, has a website, that has an HOA? You want to get all the facts and details about the neighborhood on there. And then, are there any special needs of the neighborhood? Because if you can address special needs that the neighborhood may have, that can be a real nice selling feature to kind of help you engage inside that neighborhood. If you live in a neighborhood, always consider farming the neighborhood that you live in. That's just like automatically you're part of the in crowd. So for a lot of folks, they farm the neighborhood they live in. It makes it very, very easy. There's some folks that don't like their neighbors, and I get that, but like, at least consider the neighborhood that you farm in, just because you're already part of the in crowd. And it's also a very easy message to say, look, I care about this neighborhood, and I care about the property values. I care about the people who live here. I care about the people who are selling, moving in, moving out, the whole 9 yards, because I live here too. That makes it a really, really easy sell for a lot of people, just in overall selecting the farm. Let's talk specifically about selecting the farm, because what I want you to do is I want you to be able to, you need to be able to analyze, does this farm make good financial sense? So what I want you to do is like when you select a farm, go into the MLS, and I want you to go in and pull up all the active sales, under contract, and solds. And you want to look at it for the last 12 months. You want to see how many houses have actually sold in that neighborhood. Because, and write this down, this is your big caveat, you want a third of all listings that come out of the neighborhood. Okay, a third. That's the big number here. And like I want you to understand that a third of the listings coming out of a neighborhood is more than doable. We have some folks that get half of all the listings coming out of a particular neighborhood. So a third is a very reasonable goal. And if you can't farm a neighborhood and get a third of the listings, then you shouldn't be farming it. That's the whole purpose in farming the neighborhood. So knowing that, you go in, you pull up a neighborhood, and only 3 homes sold there in the last year. Well, a third of that means you're going to get 1 listing over the next year. Now, maybe it's at a price point that you're comfortable doing that, but for most folks, they're going to be like, all right, I'm going to pass. And then you go down the street, you find another neighborhood that you like, and it had 15 homes that sold last year. Well, let's do the math, right? So you go in, you say, okay, this neighborhood had 15 homes sold. That means that my goal is I need 5 listings that come out of the neighborhood, and I need half of those people that sell to also then turn around and buy with me, which is, again, a very reasonable rate. So what you want to look at is, so I'm predicting that if I farm this neighborhood, I can get 7 transactions. The median price point in that neighborhood, let's just say for round numbers, it's $300,000. And let's say that your average compensation is around 3%. So that means that for every sale, you should be compensated by around $9,000. 7 times 9, $63,000. So is farming this neighborhood worth $63,000 in revenue for you? That's how you decide what areas if you should farm that neighborhood or not. It should be a financial decision. When you're going through the MLS at the same time, please go through and make sure that not an agent is not listed multiple times as the listing agent. Because if so, then that neighborhood is probably already being farmed. If you see the same person showing up again and again, they're probably already farming that neighborhood. Skip it, go find another neighborhood down the street. The whole idea here is that I want you to be looking at farms from a financial position. Does this make sense for me and for my business? I find too often that some folks will farm a neighborhood because they live there or because the houses are so pretty. Like that's not a good reason to sell it. I mean, to farm a house. You want to farm a house, farm a neighborhood because it makes financial decision. It fits with your financial goals. You are a small business person. This should be a decision that you make based upon, like what are the plans that you have for your business. And this is really, kind of where you start looking at if you're going to be really actively engaged in farming, like this becomes a business process. This is something that you work on, at least weekly, monthly, that kind of stuff where you're engaging with all the homeowners in that neighborhood. So now we've decided that we're going to farm. We've selected our farm. What do we do? Well, now you got to figure out, how am I going to connect, right? I mean, how am I going to connect with all the homeowners in that particular neighborhood? The goal here is that everyone, every household in the neighborhood should get something from you once a month, right? So, could you use postcards? Absolutely. Letters, those kind of things. You can do door knocking. You can tie in social media. We're going to talk about some websites you can do. You can drop off letters, or you can mail letters, and you can drop off different things. In addition to that, you may want to choose to sponsor different activities around the neighborhood. Cookouts, opening the HOA pool, having the HOA meeting. My two favorite things that we've done in the past are garage sales as well as trash pickup day. Those have been really, really effective for us to do. But anytime that the whole idea here is that you want to, I want you to think ahead of, how am I going to engage with all the homeowners in this neighborhood on a monthly basis? What are there any problems that I can help solve for them, that kind of stuff. But this is your chance to really, really kind of be creative. If you're going to go the route of postcard farming, which I'm not knocking it, but postcard farming is one of those things where it takes longer if all you're going to do is send postcards into that neighborhood. Postcards, postcards work, but you have to stay diligent with it. And on average, it's going to, just overall general cost on postcard farming is around $1 a door. So if you're doing 100 100 homes in the neighborhood, it's going to cost you $100 a month. If it's 500 homes in the neighborhood, it's going to cost you $500. So you want to just be conscientious about those costs. You want to look at, what am I willing to do as far as sweat equity? There's some folks who like their favorite thing is to walk through the neighborhood, and especially if it is your neighborhood, walking through the neighborhood and talking to neighbors is one of the best things that you can do, and it doesn't cost you anything. But some folks don't like to do that. Some folks are afraid of dogs and that kind of stuff, and I get that. But then it's going to cost you more. It's going to have to be a little bit lengthier, right? Because the whole idea here is that you're using geographic farming to build relationships. You have to be able to show that I'm here, I'm the local real estate expert. I know this neighborhood, I care about this neighborhood. This is your chance to build relationships. And just like we're using, we can use a lot of different things to build a relationship. This is you using geographic farming to build relationships with all the folks inside that neighborhood. So look and see, are there any partners that you may need to partner up with? There are some folks that have lenders that jump in there with them, and we'll do a geographic farm. Sometimes there are other business partners that you can get that will come alongside and really want to market into a neighborhood. I don't recommend partnering with another real estate agent. You should be the only realtor that's going in there. So now we've decided on our farm, and we started looking at ways that we're going to, we decided, are we going to be postcard farming? Are we going to be doing, just looking at the different options that we're going to do? What's the next step? Well, the next step is you got to get everybody's name and addresses and all their contact information that you can. So I really, the one that we use the most is Remind. You go into Remind, draw a map around that neighborhood, and it's going to give you all the names, addresses. It will give you some contact information. It may not have all of it, but it will have some, so at least you can start building a database wrapped around just that geographic farm. And so I'm not talking about Remind Docs, I'm talking about Remind. And the easiest way is if you'll log in through FMLS. Remind is free. Go into there, go into the mapping section, draw a map around there, and it will give you a list. And then you want to export that list and put it into an Excel spreadsheet. And this is kind of old school, but we find it much easier if you put everyone into an Excel spreadsheet, and then you work on filling all the information in as you can get it. And then at that point, once you've got everyone's contact information, that kind of stuff put together, at least as much as you can, that's when you want to go and input those into your database, into your CRM, which for most of us is going to be KV Core. And so you want to go in and you want to make sure you tag them with your geographic farm name, because you want to be able to send different items out. You may not have everyone's email address in the very beginning. You may not have everyone's phone number, but that should be two of the big goals that you have is as you engage with more and more people, then there's a lot of things that you can do to get more contact where they're going to give you their email address and they're going to give you your phone number. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. So the other thing you want to do is please run your database or run that list through the do not call registry. You don't want to call people that are not on the do not call registry. So make sure that you don't like violate that on there. And so now at this point, then you want to go in, you want to put them into your CRM, because this is, like this is not going to be the only way that you reach out. But the whole idea here is that we want to be able to leverage as much technology as we have. So we are going to be doing some things very old school, but we also want to be reaching out in much more traditional methods as far as text and email and those kind of things when the time is right. I'm not saying go mass text them or any of that, or group text, never group text them, that kind of stuff. But you will find that there's a lot of opportunities to provide value in other ways. Now, one thing once at this point you've selected your neighborhood, you started to identify who the owners are in there. You can also cross-reference it with CRS Power Tools, that kind of stuff. Now you want to see, are there any existing neighborhood Facebook pages, right? Are there any Facebook pages? Because several neighborhoods have their own Facebook page. So find out if there is one, and if so, join it. If there isn't one, consider making a Facebook page for the neighborhood. Now, this does not become your own personal sales place. This is a place for relationships. This is a place where the neighbors can get together, talk about different things. Oh, my dog got out, these kind of things. You can make some offerings in there, but remember, the goal for this is relationships, not sales. Like to throw, if you turn this into a sales thing right from the very beginning, they're not going to participate. They're not going to be part of it. So if they are in there, get someone to get you in. Build a rapport with somebody, ask them to add you to it, that kind of stuff. A lot of them will. If your neighborhood has an HOA, then the HOA probably has a website. If it doesn't have a website, though, consider setting them up a website. So there is a website, or there is a place called neighborhoodlink.com. You can go and set up a neighborhood's web page right there, and then at that point you're kind of managing it for them as well. And then you can reach out and invite everyone in the neighborhood to join the Facebook page, to join the neighborhood link page. It can be a very easy way to get access and to get information back and forth. The third thing I want you to look at is Nextdoor. Nextdoor is like if you're not in Nextdoor as a business, you really, really should be. So you got to go into Nextdoor. Nextdoor is a completely different mastermind topic that we're going to talk about down the road here. But Nextdoor, you want to go in and set up your profile in Nextdoor. You want to be connected to that neighborhood, because 25% of things going back and forth in Nextdoor our referrals, recommendations, those kind of things. So look at putting that together. So at this point, we selected our neighborhood, we started identifying our people. We've looked and see, is there a Facebook page? Are we in Nextdoor? Because we want to start being able to engage and start building relationships with the folks. Now we have to we need to decide on a contact calendar for the next year. Okay, so I need you just to, take a scratch piece of paper, write January through December on there. You need to decide now, or whatever month it is, what are you going to do to engage with everyone in that neighborhood over the next year? And the reason you got to decide now is life gets busy, stuff starts happening. If you don't take the time to say, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this month, this month, this month, then that month is going to be here and you're not going to be prepared for it. Again, the magic here is in consistency, is in reaching out every single month and being and staying in contact with these folks. What we see happen, unfortunately, for a lot of people is they'll go in, they'll start getting really active, they'll start getting some business, and then they stop doing the things that got them the business, which is by engaging and interacting with the folks inside the neighborhood. So, I want you to build a content calendar for the next year. Now, what is that content going to be? There's a lot of things that you can put in there. What are the different ways that you can stay in touch with everybody? So, before we go into the actual items that you can be doing, one thing I want you to think about is everything that you send out, everything that you give needs to have your picture, your phone number, and your email address on it. Because that's what they're going to use to reach back out to you. They're going to text you, they're going to call you, they're going to email you. So everything needs to have your picture because you want them to see you and think, oh, that's not stranger danger. That's my realtor. You want to make it very easy for them to get in contact with you. I know none of us love spam, but do not, unfortunately, we see people where they just, like they won't put their contact info right up front. Put your contact info right up front, especially in a geographic farm. Now, what could you put in there as far as, for your 12-month items? I really love at least once a year, but sometimes twice a year, depending on the size and scope of the neighborhood. One of my favorite things to do is to do a market update where you talk about these are all the homes that have been sold in this neighborhood. And you want to break it down in as much detail as you can because your neighbors will absolutely gobble this up, right? Price per square foot, days on market, compensate, any concessions given, price per square foot, all as much data points as you can because the neighbors will love. Everyone wants to see what the home down the street sold for, and so I like to do that at least once a year, if not twice a year. If you are going to do postcards, you want to make sure your postcards have a different topic or a different theme every time that you're going to send them out. I don't have a hard time with postcards. Some folks, I don't dislike postcards. I like postcards when they're mixed in. Where we find it to be less effective is if you do a postcard every single month, that takes longer. Whereas if you mix it up some, you're going to get much higher retention rates. So a postcard is not necessarily a bad thing. We look at postcards as something that we fill in as we're going through and we're planning out what are the things that we're going to do for the next year in this neighborhood. If I have an off month or if I know this is going to be a really busy time, I may schedule or plan on doing a postcard that month. But if you're going to do postcards every single month that goes out, that's, understand it's probably going to take a little bit longer. I'm not saying it doesn't work, but do consider, what you're going to put out there. Normally when we put out our market update, we normally do that on just an old school piece of paper. Like we print it out in letter format, that kind of stuff, and then we mail it to them. Some folks, you can put it in postcards if you want, but we always send it out by, on just in a regular standard envelope out there. Christmas cards are always a really nice thing to send out. You can send a postcard talking about you. I love sending out newsletters, but a newsletter that is consistent. What we find to be the most effective is to send out, I'm sorry, I wrote 3, but really 4 newsletters a year. And you want to do one spring, winter, summer, fall. And so you do a newsletter, but that's where you talk about what's happening in the real estate market, what's kind of going on, what's going to affect home values, anything upcoming in the neighborhood over, for the next quarter, that kind of thing going on, anything happening in the local area that may impact the homes. But a newsletter can be a really, really handy thing. And if you think of that, like right out the gate, I like to do 4 newsletters, and I like to do 2 market updates. That's 6 of your 12 things that you may need to do for the next year. If I was doing a geographic farm, I would do those 6 things right out of the gate, no matter what. Again, this is your business. You can choose to do what you want. So, I love being able to put those, but those for me, those are kind of constants on there. If the neighborhood has an HOA, are you going to, can you partner up with that HOA? Will they let you sponsor their annual HOA meeting? If the HOA has a pool, can you schedule and can you open the pool in the spring and have a little party? Or do you have a party at the end of the year? I mean, like we just drug out a grill and hot dogs and hamburgers, and everyone just kind of goes nuts for that kind of stuff. And it's done really, really good. I like to do, if I can, we like to do trash pickup, big item trash pickup. And so this is something that, granted, I'm a little bit redneck. I've got trucks, I've got trailers. It was very easy for us to go and say, look, on this day, we're going to be coming up and picking up old grills, trampolines, those kind of things. And, sometimes you just end up with these things that are just hard to get rid of as a homeowner. And sometimes, you got a homeowner has a Prius. What are they going to do with an old gas grill? We would set up these days, and it just it was a very inexpensive way. We've had some agents that just partnered with junkmen who came out and did that, and they paid them a little bit extra to take any of the other stuff. It's not for household garbage. We're not taking your trash out, but it was for big time metal and wood and those kind of things. Some things, but it can be a very inexpensive way to haul that. So I love bulk trash day. That one was really, really effective because we would do that, and then we would walk around and drive around, and the neighbors are coming out to you. Oh, thank you so much. This is so nice of you to do it. You're building instant relationships. If you're going to do bulk trash day, be there. This is nothing like you don't do bulk trash and then not be there. You have to be there. If you're going to hire, have some garbage men or scrappers there, make sure that you're the person riding around the hood of the truck or in the back of the truck kind of thing. And you want to send, notices out that's going to kind of go on. Does the neighborhood have, do they go all out for Halloween? Is that something that you can do to help celebrate or engage with on Halloween? We've done trick or treating to the house where we actually drop things off, especially on all the houses. We're seeing so many houses that are dark for Halloween, and we go drop things off on Halloween night on their door. Doesn't seem as nearly as creepy, that kind of stuff, but we would still go and do that. We love having garage sale day. A lot of times the neighbor would love to have a neighborhood garage sale, but no one ever takes the time to set up a neighborhood garage sale. It's very easy to do. All you do is you decide when you're going to do a neighborhood garage sale. Then you advertise it, communicate it, get all the neighbors on board. You're going to find only about 5 or 6 actually do, but it's a great opportunity for you to reach out into the neighborhood and be that go-to source, be that resource where they are. Like this is one of the easiest ones to do. You can send a letter, you can do it in a postcard format kind of thing. Hey, the neighborhood garage sale is Saturday, this time from this time, that kind of stuff. We always only did it on Saturday. I know some people like to do garage sales on Friday. If they want to do it on Friday, that's on them. But we would always do it on Saturday. We would take all of our old real estate signs and put signs on top of it, just poster board that we'd tape to it, talking, with directionals, that kind of stuff. And then again, walk around the neighborhood. We'd invite everyone to participate in the neighborhood garage sale. And then we would go and be there for garage sale day. And, buy some knickknacks yourself if you want to, but it's a great chance to engage, talk to all the folks inside that neighborhood in there. Um, I love to send out coupons. Go to a lot of your surrounding businesses. You go down here to the Chinese restaurant and see, hey, I've got a neighborhood that I interact with. Would you like me to drop off coupons to everyone that lives inside the neighborhood? A lot of these businesses will say yes. Oil change places, car repair shops, restaurants, anyone that has coupons, we would go together and once a year we would just gather up all these coupons, and then we go and that became our mailer for that month, was dropping off coupons. Because the whole idea here is anytime that you send something into that neighborhood, whether it's a postcard, whether it's a letter, you want to be providing value. That's how you become the go-to source for that. Because if you think about all the things that we're talking about reaching out, we're talking about giving, 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 but this is how you're building the relationship. Like this is so that when those people are ready to sell, they're like, I'm definitely going to use Alan. Like we already know him. He's in our neighborhood all the time. He knows what's going on. They care. Like this is where you focus on relationship, and the business comes. This is not where you start selling right out front. I mean, you do want to be able to throw things in there, like offering neighborhood CMA or comparative market analysis. I really prefer the term equity assessments better. See how much your home is worth. That kind of stuff does really, really good. But if you lead with sales, those folks tend to take much longer. You don't build the same relationship. This is not about leading with sales. This is about leading with relationships. So, some things, anytime you do have a listing in the neighborhood, make sure you send just listed postcards to everyone inside your neighborhood. If you get a listing in that neighborhood, you need to blow it up inside the neighborhood, because when it comes time for them to sell, they'll be like, oh, they're all over it. We've got to use them, that kind of stuff. I like to be the referral source inside my geographic farm. So one month you may go out and offer, listen, I have roofers, contractors, plumbers, da, 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 da. If you need anyone, I've got a whole list of vendors who might be able to help you, whether it's that broken window or this over here. Again, this is just about you becoming that source where folks go to for that information. Holidays always a big deal. We like to do Christmas cards. We have some agents that do pumpkin pies. They'll get the pies from Costco, that kind of stuff. They'll drop off pumpkin pies. Some folks drop off little door hangers. I love to get they make clear plastic bags that you can buy on Amazon, and they're just door hangers. They just have a hole in it. You can put whatever you want inside it. You can drop it off on their doors. I don't recommend dropping it off on the mailboxes, and don't put anything inside the mailboxes. So, but on the doors, you can get by with that really, really good. The whole idea here is that you want your monthly calendar. This is what you're going to do on a monthly basis. And then at the same time, you should be answering questions on Nextdoor. You should be active if they have a neighborhood Facebook page. You should be, doing blogs that talks about information in there. Offering home seller seminars. I mean, you do want to do those additional things. I mean, I guess you call them salesy bits, just so that they know that you have those services. And everything you do, again, please make sure your name, your picture, your phone number, and your email address on everything that you're going to do. You will probably get asked to sponsor a lot of different activities and that kind of stuff. Decide which ones make sense. Sometimes, we haven't done it personally. We had several agents that will do a chili cook-off inside a neighborhood, that kind of stuff. It really depends on what kind of HOA and what kind of facilities that neighborhood has, because sometimes you can just kind of jump into some of the different things they have going on. So like, back to school, chili cook-offs, Easter egg hunts, supper clubs, any of that you can become part of and join in, that's a really, really strong place to be. really it's just, like at this point, it's about deciding what you're going to do and then executing on it and then following up on every month. I gave you, well, you know, far in excess of 12 things that you can do on a yearly basis. You just have to decide what it is that you're going to do. Last thing I really want to stress here is that you have to plan, and then plan again. I told you that you'd need a calendar and you need to list the 12 things that you're going to do over the next year. Well, but you've got to break it down, because those 12 things, like do you need to order something ahead of time? So we always had supplies, the date we put it together, and then the date it's delivered. And so what I mean by like on 4th of July, we love to give out those little flags. Um, and so we like to put flags in front of everybody's yard, that kind of stuff. But if you don't order them ahead of time, then they're really expensive. If you order them way ahead of time, they're super cheap, and you can go around and put them in front of everybody's house before the 4th of July. Those kind of things. But you want to make sure that you give yourself time to execute on the things that you're going to do. If you're going to be sending out a neighborhood update, you have to make sure that you have enough time to put that together. If you're not great at like making those kind of things, consider using Canva. I love Canva for all sorts of things. You can just give them the data and say, look, I need this to look great. Give it to me in this format. They'll do it for things like that. But that monthly calendar that you have, you want to make sure that you build enough time where I have to prepare the item, I got to ship the item, and then this is the day it goes out, that kind of thing. So yeah, please, I want you to really consider jumping into geographic farming. It really has some really great benefits long term. It is not get rich quick. It is like if you are just thinking that I'm going to do this and I'm going to get a sale next week, you're not going to. This is your chance to go and build a relationship with people.